and you can participate by, buying the derivatives on the open market, whatnot. Or, if you're really trying to dive in and really, you can create you know, I believe y'all were asking for it, and so that our developer team made templates for, if you wanted to have a DAO or a group, create the pooling on your own for those 32 ETH to join to create a stakehouse. So there's definitely many ways to get involved with Stakehouse and start participating. Um, and then the end of that call, we kind of talked about, synthetics versus derivatives, uh, synthetic ETH and derivative ETH. Went into, the differences between that, which is super key right now, right? As you can tell, there's a lot of pressure on synthetic ETH pegs, and so just keep an eye out for that in the market, and just stay safe out there with your ETH. And then we also talked about the My Save ETH tab, went to details with that. So, once again, all this is posted on our YouTube channel. You can check out our help center for some text on all these topics as well. But we'll give a few more minutes for some people to join, and we'll hop right in. So yeah, excited for this talk. Once again, we'll be doing an introduction to slot tokens, what they are, how they're enabled, what are some specific applications of what this could look like, kind of looking at the end, and maybe give you guys some more technical leaks, sneak peeks. So thanks for joining today. I really appreciate you guys being here. And so one little thing before we get started is you can access, validator ownership at any quantity. So it doesn't, you can have 0.01 holdings of SETH or whatever amount of access to capital you have, and you're going to get a percentage of owning that validator. And so slot tokens, Stakehouse enables this feature. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right. So, once again, welcome to the community call today. We're going to be talking through slot tokens. As always, this is just an introduction. If you want a more deep dive on Stakehouse topics, please visit our YouTube channel and listen to our developers speak at DevConnect. They dive into a multitude of topics. And, as always, I'll hit the basics on Stakehouse protocol, talk through the attributes of slot token, share some new technical diagrams from our position paper, explore what the future of blockspace production and Stakehouse looks like. And, if you have any questions along the way, please drop them in the general chat. We'll have a section at the end to address those questions. And stick around for the end. We have some links for you guys. And as always, this is not financial advice. So, consult with your financial advisor if you have one. And, please do your own research on Stakehouse. So in brief, I'll give a brief overview of how Stakehouse protocol works before jumping right into slot tokens. This is really key to understanding the foundation of slot tokens. So, in simple speak, Stakehouse protocol tracks, your validator assets, its yields, what it's accruing, and who's owning that validator on the Ethereum proof of stake network. Stakehouse accomplishes this as a dual factor registry model, smart contract suite. So essentially connecting the execution layer and consensus layer, as you can see in this little graphic. So there's two registries. There's one for DETH and SaveETH. SaveETH is your accounting asset, and one for slot and SE. Slot is your accounting asset in that registry. And this registry is completely permissionless and is tooling around the Ethereum deposit contract. This tracking enables Stakehouse to perform efficient accounting and accountability of that staked ETH to your associated derivatives. And this gives your derivative slot DETH an atomic dependency on that underlying stake. This is performed in a optimistic UTXO style. And at any time, the registry can perform redemption from day zero once withdrawals are enabled. So we're not waiting until the merge or any market event for that path to be very clear for you all, for the community, for the public to use. Like, you already know where it's coming from, where it is, and how your ETH is able to be redeemed. You're not waiting on some sort of plan to come forth and all those kinds of things. So once again, the path is completely public and verifiable. So anyone holding slot or for its liquid form SETH token is assured that there's a direct link to the underlying asset. And as you know, we've made this process very easy for stakers to join and be a part of. And so with that, just make sure you're looking out for announcements when the faucet is refilled to participate in that. So next, we'll just talk through real quick, a user's journey going through Stakehouse. So you have your 32 ETH, and you have the option to create your validator through easy mode or expert mode. Expert mode is the traditional CLI route, takes over an hour to complete that. And we've made a easy mode, that's kind of like our philosophy here. We want to make things as easy as possible for stakers. And so we've automated that process. And if I'm sure a lot of you have already on this call done that, it takes about a minute to complete that 60 seconds. So you'll make your ETH deposit, then you'll have to set up a node, and that's, you need a node to operate properly. All validators need a node to operate properly. Having a node is part of your validator responsibility, right? So, and if you don't set up your node, your node is subject to be leaked, and then your NOT balance, or validator balance, would be less than 32, and then you won't be eligible to make derivatives. Let me just say that. So now that you've set up your node, now you just wait for the consensus layer to recognize your validator is active, and then you're able to join and create Stakehouse, make your derivative tokens, and boom, we're ready to go. So now that we've kind of covered the basics, right? Like we do that every call, we're gonna jump right into, we'll zoom in a little bit more on slot tokens, so the slot token journey. So now when a NOT owner mints their tokens, you have full ownership of your 8 slot tokens, but they're split. So 4 of them are going to go straight to your wallet as SETH, that's the liquid form and unit of account for your slot. And then the other 4 are going to go to a Stakehouse vault. And a Stakehouse vault is where any of your risk events happen. So that would be like leakage events would happen here, like it will get taken from that place first. And as SETH is, it's a ERC20 token. This is a liquid form of slot, and slot has the initial minted value of 3 ETH per slot. This exchange rate is formulated by how much DETH backs slot. So we get that from you have 24 DETH and 8 slot tokens, so you get initial value of 3 to 1. So a good thing to note here is that the NOT owner with the 4 slot tokens in the vault, like that's the main owner of the NOT of your validator management rights. So let's go through like just a quick scenario. So, and also, slot tokens, where they differ from DETH, is the slot revenue and rewards are shared amongst the collective, where DETH and Save ETH, that's personalized. Those staking rewards are personalized just for you. It's not shared, like it's just for you. So on this end, if a leakage event happens and a NOT owner is not performing their duties, they're getting leaked, it's being neglected, or somebody's just slow to top it up, other participants in the Stakehouse can top up that validator to make it healthy again and acquire a percentage of that validator. So this is designed as an accountability measure that for all participating in the Stakehouse, they act in their best interests and the best interests of themselves, but also, as a community, as a collective that you've chosen to be a part of, right? So let's go to our next slide. And here is the promised leak here from our position paper. This is a more technical diagram of the slot registry. And so let's just dive in real quick here. So on the left, you can see a group of knots. Those are arbitrary numbers, and they're part of the Stakehouse NVM. Never mind. And remember that each knot ties the consensus layer and execution layer. So that's an easy way to remember it, is that it ties a knot. And knots are validators within the Stakehouse ecosystem. So the slot tokens are the registry asset right here in the middle, and that's how it's being accounting for. Okay, what's coming from on chain, and then what's in your wallet. Okay, so that's just a very basic high level view of that. And so as we talked previous, the exchange rate is 3 to 1. So 8 slot tokens is 24 SETH, and then if your slot tokens, if your validator gets leaked, here's an example. You have it got leaked by 2. that balance will be reflected as well in your SETH. So that's it's constantly going back and forth, constantly tied. So to what's being reflected in your validator balance. So and then here at the bottom you see the payoff rate, redemption rate. Just simply, I'll just say the payoff rate and redemption rate, are indicators for your knot's health. And as long as you have a healthy house and you have 4 slots in your vault, you're in a healthy position to exit Steakhouse so it's a really good indicator for that. If you have questions on this, I'm sure you can drop them in the chat and we can address those at the end. And so now, kind of looking more forward, let's look forward a little bit and explore how Steakhouses can create a marketplace for block production rewards and supply, demand for Ethereum block space. So in this graphic, you have 3 actors here, right? You have L2 rollup in the top left, you have a MEV strategy company, and you have a speculator. So let's make a few assumptions just to kind of explore this a little bit more. So each have their own Steakhouse. I think that's pretty obvious. Each have onboarded an appropriate amount of validators to this collective. Each have their own mempool to process transactions, right? And then no single Steakhouse here controls more than 22% of stake teeth. So speculators in just as an example, are looking for high volume events like airdrops, NFT minting events, or any like high time transaction volume, whatever that can be. And they're trying to time these events. And so a individual staker say, I'm a part of a Steakhouse that's not in one of these 3. And I know that this the Steakhouse of speculators, they're looking to rent more slot tokens. Well, I can rent it out to them at a percentage that we agree for, and so I let them rent my slot tokens, and I'm earning more as well. And then you can just start to see how this ecosystem starts to develop, right? So the MEV company will be able to onboard stakers directly to their staking strategy, and they could ask Stakehouse joiners to hand over an amount of slot or DETH, whatever payment they want, or however they want it. Like that's the whole point. Stakehouses are completely customizable to the needs of the creator, right? So this is just one form of the application. It doesn't have to be this way. It can be anything, right? So they can do that, and people are getting the benefit of having this like really sophisticated strategy, and that MEF company is getting access to all these validators, right, to alleviate some of the things in the system. So any surpluses, they can sell, loan, and share across Steakhouses. And then up here in the top left, you have the L2 Steakhouse, and this L2 will be able to access block space separate from the current market rate. So they'll be able to subsidize their own transactions and not have to rely on outside market fees and costs. So depending on the timing of each batch that's posted to the base layer, this L2 has their own block space as it's needed, and any net profits from ordering those blocks under L2 can be sold, trade, loaned out, shared to generate any extra revenue for that native layer. And so one thing that I want to go back and talk about really quick, I didn't really dive into as much, is SETH. So SETH is the liquid form of slot. So that's open to anybody. Anybody can purchase those, and that would be like and this is what's accruing. SETH will have the accrued rewards of the validated revenue, and so I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that before we move forward. So we're good here. So yeah, that's kind of slot tokens. Try to imagine this expanding and growing. You're having fractionalized validator ownership and fractionalized yield of the validator revenue, and so that has many different applications for different Steakhouse owners, Steakhouse creators, and joiners. And so this is a good way to visualize what that world can look like. And so with that, we can go into any questions you guys have. So if you have any questions, please, just drop in the chat. I believe I can unmute you, and you can so you can just drop like a little wave emoji or something in the general chat, and I can unmute you.
Hey, I had a quick question for you. So these, SETH tokens that you're referring to, Um, are those fungible or like what does that look like if they're, tradable and usable?
It's a good question. So SE tokens are have a uh, do have a do have a level of fungibility. Um, so yeah, they have a fungibility aspect to them. Slot tokens are not fungible. I would say that like they don't go outside of the stakehouse registry. Like they're that's where they're at. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like so these SD tokens, they're fungible within a particular steakhouse. Um, there you had mentioned that there's like you can top them up, or somebody else, if somebody else is leaking, anybody can top up their validator and get the SETH associated with that underlying steakhouse. Is that correct?
That's the point. So yeah, slot tokens have a limited fungibility, and so the associated token, the wallet asset SETH, shares that same characteristic. And so yeah, if when you need to top up a validator, those occurrences are possibilities and scenarios are what happen.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna expand this fungibility from a user standpoint. You said S ETH, like it's just so it's denominated in ETH, right? You pull that, you should pull up that diagram again. So you have like a slow token associated with like every slow token begins with 3, and then S ETH is like 12 S ETH, like 4. And so you can see that per slot token has 3 ETH, right? Kind of value to begin with if it is at the beginning. So if I get 0.25 or 0.00001 SETH from topping up some stakeout scenes that been leaked for some other way, and I really want because I really like that stakehouse because they're doing a lot of stuff and they have like a lot of they have a lot of validators. They have at least about every 30 seconds they have a block. I want to get a piece of that revenue. And I get this kind of 0.0025 and I go to that syndication where people are paying for this specific RPC endpoint. Maybe they use a Flashboards or they might be using other proposal builder software that is already Ethereum has a builder separation software too. So let's say I go and put my 0.0001 SE there. I get pro rata of that syndication revenue that has been generating.
Yes. Yep. As
Uh,
absolutely. So that's the power of the registry.
and a smart contract syndication can basically make that decision that when I present my SE, yep, you're part of the stakhouses that we listed. Come here, you're good to go. No one can stop you. If you have the SE, if you
Yes.
have the SE, then your stakehouse nodes are participating in any of this kind of revenue pools. You can go and no one can censor you or anything like that because it's fungible. SE is fungible.
Hmm.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
I I had another question. So you had mentioned that, you know, for slot tokens, somebody comes in and they stake and they get access to, you know, 24, so 12 SE to their wallet, and then 4 slot tokens go to this steakhouse vault. Now, what happens um, if there's a slashing event or like leakage? Like, does that oh, I see you got it right there. The leakage events there. So I guess my next question, you know, is what if I want to get these tokens out of the vault? Like, is that possible? Can I remove? um, my tokens from this vault? Can I remove the validator?
Yeah, so that would be completing a rage quit. So the only way to get out of the Stakehouse vault is to completely exit the Stakehouse protocol. And that is something that is very unique to Stakehouse. So we're not only thinking about easy entry, but easy exit as well. And so what one would do is run a balance report and make sure that all the associated derivatives with your knot are in your possession. They're isolated and they're burned. So that burns, your SE, that burns your DETH, your slot. And so you exit the Stakehouse protocol while maintaining your validator on the consensus layer. And so that's so yeah, you can't. There's no mechanism that allows you to remove those four slot and still be a part of Steakhouse.
So it sounds like what you're saying is, if I decide to come in and stake my validator, and I can play around with the derivatives, and if at any point I decide that this isn't for me, I can just remove it and keep my validator staked. I don't have to wait in the validator queue again.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You don't have to remove and restake. It's all you're just removing your validator from the registry. Yeah.
And this is available the moment I stake my validator, or wait for withdrawals?
This is available from day zero. Yeah. So you can even do this. You can even test it out if you want to in our DevNet right now.
Thank you.
Well, with that, I think we'll go to our next section. There's another little leak I have for you guys, and that is another diagram. And this is the other registry. This is the Save ETH DETH registry, and wanted to show this to you guys. So these validators are accruing rewards from the consensus layer here, and all the unspent transactions are sent over via a UTXO model. So when a staker mints their tokens, this is all personalized to this knot owner, and these indexes are then able to be traded or ported back to external chains via the same method. And so it's coming in. And you have your Save ETH registry. This is just an arbitrary balance here for your DETH. And so you have your Save ETH index, which is your personal index, and you have an open index, which is you've withdrawn your DETH to go use it however you want across DeFi or whatnot. And then you can trade these whole indexes into external chains. So it'll any unspent all those unspent transactions, unspent accrue rewards go on that UTXO, and they can be ported into the gateway registry on whatever external chain that you would choose. That there's a gateway Save ETH registry too. So this is once again, this is just a little sneak peek at the position paper, and there'll be more topics on that coming soon and more announcements. But that pretty much concludes our call for today. A few reminders: on Tuesday we'll have another Twitter space at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and also just wanted to announce that this is the last call to become a historical user. So make sure you start participating in the DevNet. You can find those instructions in the announcement channel. There's more instructions to come. And for joining us today, you get first dibs on the faucet being refilled. So soon after this call, we'll put some more Garoli in the faucet, and then we'll make an announcement. But yeah, why don't you check the faucet after this call, and I'll see you all in the Discord. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and me and the team will do our best to answer them. So thanks for joining today, and talk to you soon.